All right, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. Can we get, this is the public hearing on the tentative budget for the Town Fund General Assistance Sewer and Road Department for fiscal year 2022 to 2023. I'm going to call we call the meeting to order, not have roll call.
Trustee Narodowski.
Present.
Trustee Keenley.
Present.
Trustee Wojcicki.
Present.
Trustee Dante.
Present.
Supervisor Bussie.
Present. Okay, this is the hearing regarding the tentative budget. Are there any public comments? Anyone from the audience, public, want to speak? Okay. Okay, good. Is there anyone on the board that wants to say something or has any specific questions? We will be addressing this for the acceptance of the tentative budget during the regular meeting, so I don't know if there's really a need to at this unless there's something special. No?
Nothing at the moment, no.
Okay, since there's no public comment, there's no board comment, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Okay, we're going to go right to the regular board meeting. We can all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call.
Trustee Narodowski.
Present.
Trustee Keenley.
Present.
Trustee Wojcicki.
Present.
Trustee Dante.
Present.
Supervisor Bussie.
Present. Public comment? Nothing again, okay. No public comment. We got the consent agenda, the authorization of payroll bills, and all the supervisors' reports, all of my reports on social services, employment center, et cetera. Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Okay, they can
Got it, yeah.
roll.
Trustee Narodowski.
Aye.
Trustee Keenley.
Aye.
Trustee Wojcicki.
Aye.
Trustee Dante.
Aye.
Supervisor Bussie.
Aye. Okay, now we are going to be dealing with the approval of the minutes, January 24th, 2022, the regular board meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All right, is there any discussion?
Nope.
No, sir.
If not, roll call.
Trustee Narodowski.
Aye.
Trustee Keenley.
Aye.
Trustee Wojcicki.
Aye.
Trustee Dante.
Aye.
Supervisor Bussie.
Aye. There are no presentations today. Just to keep in mind that we will be starting up with the presentations by the departments again in the next month or so, and we'll work through them. Each department is presenting once a year to the board. On reports, we'll go to elected official reports. Can we get the assessor, please?
You have my written report. We're still, at this point, open for appeals for the Board of Review. Will close on the 16th of March. So from that standpoint, there's been a bit of activity as people have come in to file their appeals. There was a Zoom meeting with the county today regarding the new process that they want us to follow in filing permits and exemptions. So there were some questions that when they were asked, the county was unable to answer, so we wait in abeyance to find out how that goes. Other than that, the numbers, excuse me, the numbers going through the office are not as dire, simply because this is the third year of our try, and even if they appeal at this point, Board of Review, which is really for last year, those numbers only stay on for a year. What we're anticipating is the increase in assessed values for our triennial, which will put us into a lot of appeals, and the same way with the Board of Review. But that's where we're at right now.
Okay. Is there any questions for Connie?
No.
Okay. Not clerk?
I have a written report. The only thing is all the required Open Meetings Act and Freedom of Information Act trainings with the Attorney General's website have been completed by the new trustees, myself, and the administrator.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Supervisor's report. Disco, if you, the administrator put out today the new, how would you say, rules that we're putting in place for the township in terms of masks. What we're doing is that it's an option for whatever people choose, the employees, whether they wish to wear or not wear. However, we are requiring that when a resident meets with any of the staff members, and they're wearing a mask, then that our employee will put on a mask then. I think that's the appropriate and respectful thing to do. Also, the departments have the option, if they want to have more stringent regulations, they can. But I would suggest that we all follow the same procedures. That said, if a department does want to do something a little more stringent, they can. I think that the adult and family counseling is going to have their clients wear masks when they get together, or they can Zoom. But I'm not sure. I believe that's what they're going to do. All right, the next thing is on the Rapolo-Durkin issue in terms of traffic. Well, we had the meeting with the primary stakeholders, with the commissioner, the Cook County Commissioner Morrison, with the police, the Elk Grove Township, Elk Grove Village Police, with Paul and I, and with the sheriffs, Cook County Sheriff's Department. At the meeting, Sergeant Brown, who is our primary partner in developing the response and the plan for dealing with the traffic issues in the Durkin-Rapolo area, presented his plan, and all the stakeholders came to an agreement on it. And what we're looking to do now is hold a public meeting with the residents of that area for Sergeant Brown to present the plan, answer any questions, and then once that's completed, we'll go and execute the plan. We are the primary players in this in terms of putting in signs and how would you say, managing the new signage and so forth that's going to have to go in the area. However, we have to coordinate with Elk Grove Village because we're going to change the speed limit on one of the roads, and we can't have one side of the road one speed limit and the other side of the road the other. So we're going to have to coordinate with them. But once that's completed, I think we'll all be in line, and we'll all be in agreement on this. And like I said, we'll hold a meeting with the residents and answer any questions, and then move to the execution. So this has been a long-standing issue. This has been going on for years, and so I'm glad we're coming to a conclusion here, and I really appreciate the efforts of the Cook County Police, who worked very closely with us on this. Any questions?
Who's responsible for putting the signage up?
We are. Township. Township will put up the signage on all the township streets. There's one street where, like I said, it's sort of shared with Elk Grove Village, and we're going to have to work with them to make sure we have the same signage on both sides of the street.
We contract out for that?
We contract out for that, yeah. And there'll be stop signs, children at play signs, speed limit signs, truck limitation signs, weight limitation signs, and we're just trying to slow down the traffic in that area at this particular stage. Okay, the next step is remediation. There's, in both situations, both at 2400 Arlington Heights Road, our old township hall, and here, letters have gone into the IEPA. At 2400 Arlington Heights Road, our attorneys have submitted a letter looking to dismiss or close out the outstanding citation, which is 30 years old. They're to close that out and make that mute, because the issues are really minor. It's about water being in a tank, which there's not an explanation for it, but there's no contamination. So it really is something which we believe we'll be able to have dismissed or closed out. On the property here, our new consultant, Pioneer Environmental, has worked with our contractor. They have come up with a proposal that they sent to the IEPA, which is we're looking to limit the amount of ground that requires a non-permeable surface. The way the NFR is written, it would be like our whole property has to be a non-permeable surface, and that's not normal, that's not necessary, and our consultants believe that they'll be able to get this changed and limited to a specific area, which is already going to be under the parking lot. So both of these we're waiting for responses from the letters by the IEPA. The other next step would be Robin has submitted her letter to retire. If you remember, Robin had been talking about this a little bit in the past, and she is now, Robin Wilson, she will now be, in June, she'll be turning 65. I mean, she's worked for the township for 36 years. She said she's enjoyed her time here, but she feels it's time that she steps down and moves forward. Her last day of work will be July 1st, 2022, and so we're beginning to solicit candidates to interview for a replacement. We'd be looking for a full-time bilingual therapist, counselor therapist is what we'd be looking for. And at this point, we're just gathering names. I don't think yeah. And if we're hoping that we'll be able to hire somebody so there's an overlap. So there's a couple months where they're working together. And then we'll hopefully, then when Robin leaves, it'll be a real smooth transition. We're also keeping open, the Jocelyn Center with the psychiatric teleservices. We're really going to have to see what that generates. Luann believes that this is going to generate a lot of activity and a lot of work and additional counseling requirements. If that's the case, we may have to look at additional employees in the department, but that's just something to put in your minds. Right now, we're just replacing Robin. We'll deal with that if that increased business or increased demand emerges. Let's see, next one is, there's I've talked about a service review committee, setting up a committee that looks at the services that we currently provide, looks at them in terms of effectiveness, looks at them in terms of efficiency, looks at them in terms of the area around, the other organization around if we're duplicating services or if there's services that are missing. Well, and I was kind of letting that lie a little bit right now. We had other things going on. I'm going to move that more forward to establish it probably in the next 2 months or so. That's because there's a bill, Senate Bill 3789, which is going to require the township a year after the bill is passed, and I think it's going to the House for a vote, Senate for the vote, and then it would go to the House. That would require us 1 year after this is passed to do a in-depth analysis of our services and the costs and the effectiveness, and look at all the other communities around us in terms of how we interact with them and what we do. This would be a major report. I don't know who is going to look at it. I don't know who's going to do anything with it, but this is a major report that we will have to provide. So to set up that committee now to begin working on this and gathering data and starting to get themselves organized, that would be great. Now, after the first year, then it's every 10 years. So it's a long stretch in between. However, if we get this committee up operating and they're working in a way that allows us to continue to analyze this, then when the 10 years comes, you'll have a history, we'll have worked through it.
Is, aside from the bill that's going to go in that require this, do they have a framework?
At least two, it would have to be at least 2 residents of the governmental unit who are appointed by the chair of the board, that's me. Then there'd be, I think, maybe the entire board, maybe all 4 of us, and then like two residents, like it is said, and then probably we'd have some professionals. It could be a really large board. Okay. Now, the first time, we may actually go with a consultant to help us structure how we're gathering data, what we're looking at, and then constructing the first report. After that, we'll be gathering then the data and pursuing things in a way which is which complements or helps us when the reports come around. So that first year, for the first report, first year, we may have a consultant help us set up the committee, set up how our procedures, and set up the format for the report.
So you're looking at standard operating procedures?
Yeah.
Looking into financial?
All the things to do with services.
Right, so-
Now, and they'll have a little more specific, once it's passed, we can look at it more carefully, but it's gonna be, they can't do everything specifically. There's gonna be vulgarities in that,
Right, every township's different.
yeah, exactly. And every township will probably structure the report differently, and every township will say that everything's fantastic. But it's not just townships, it's also all special districts, so school districts, mosquito abatement, all those. The only ones that won't have to do this is the county and the state.
Okay.
So what is the estimated timeframe
exactly.
for to set up the?
I'm not sure when
The committee? to
Well,
set it up?
I'm gonna look to set up the committee, basically structured in a way that appears to meet the demands of this bill. And this bill should pass, I would think, in the next several months too. But if it doesn't, we're still gonna set up and get moving and get operating, because we were thinking about this anyway,
Yeah, makes sense.
okay? All right, so we'll know more about that once the bill is passed. The Community Empowerment Fund, the chair has agreed to the change in the bylaws. We are now helping him by sending out an email to the board of the Community Empowerment Fund, sending out the bylaws, indicating that the chairman is comfortable with them, but we need to vote on this. If they have any questions, let us know, and then we will vote yea or nay, to changing the bylaws. The bylaws are giving us more control of the Community Empowerment Fund, which is a 501c3. The reason for this is, even though this board is very, very good and a very dependable group, we have no idea what somewhere down the line something could happen. So I want to make sure that the township has basic control of the board so that it can maintain focused on its primary purpose, which is to supplement what we do in terms of social services. And it doesn't get spun off on other issues that have nothing to do with us. Also, there was other problems in the bylaws in terms of financial audits, in terms of how finances are managed. And it could have put us, I think, in a difficult situation because it was not properly structured to meet the legal requirements for how money is handled. So that is, I will give you more information on that at the next meeting, well, maybe the next meeting, in terms of where we stand. Once again, there will be trustees on that board as well, too. So I will talk to each of you, see who would be interested in being on that board. And we're also going to make that fund more visible. We're going to solicit more aggressively for funds to support it. And if you remember, this is money that's used to supplement when we have no other area to go, and when somebody needs help, we can draw from there to provide additional assistance for them. Okay? Then the holiday party, is on, what is that? That's on the day after
18th.
St. Patrick's Day, Friday the
18th.
18th. Is it 18th? All right, Friday the 18th. It's going to be at Cooper's Hawk, and everyone obviously is invited to come along with their spouse. It should be I think it should be a good time. It's the only time we all really get together for an event of this nature from a real social point of view. I mean, we get the employees together sometimes for appreciation lunches and stuff, but for all of us to get together, I think this is a nice opportunity. And Vince said he'd provide the entertainment, right?
Always, as always.
All right. Tap dance or singing?
Whether we like
Whatever
it or
you
not.
want. Whatever we want. All right, so that's the party, and I hope you all can attend. And I've spoken to you guys before. We will not, the board does not, we cannot use government's funds to pay for the liquor, so we will all contribute to pay for it for the event for the employees. Okay. Okay, that's the reports. I guess we have any questions for me?
With regards to the EPA being involved on the permeable surface in the back, was this a second consulting firm
Yeah.
that's looking at it, and has it pushed back the timeframe?
No, the first consultant that was used in terms of removing the tanks did not follow through on the reports like they were supposed to. And then when we reached out to them to make sure those reports were submitted, we were not given, it either was not truthful, or they were not, or they were playing a game with us, or they were just not professionally knowledgeable about what they're doing, which I doubt. And since I've been through this on other pieces of property, I knew that that wasn't, what they were saying wasn't the case.
Okay.
So I decided then, if I can't trust them, and I'm not comfortable with them, I decided to go with another firm that I know well and I can trust. So this group now is moving forward very quickly, and hopefully we'll be able to get this resolved in a way that we could begin building the challenge course and the bike safety in spring.
Okay, so then in other words, the new consulting firm is confirming what your thoughts?
Yeah, the new firm, I actually asked for some advice. They did pro bono, which confirmed that the original firm was not
Okay.
saying what they should be saying. Then when we got to the point here where we needed a consult to help us again, dealing with the NFR, the no further remediation, the one that's in place has some requirements in it that it's caught us by surprise, and it was not noticed. I guess maybe because we had asphalt over the whole area, and we were going to tear it up now, part of it, so we could do the challenge course and the bike safety, and all of a sudden, we noticed in the NFR that was in place that it requires an impermeable surface, and we potentially can't tear it up. But Pioneer, our consultant, says this is, the contamination is a smaller area right back here, and that the migration has been virtually minor, and it's benzene, it's not perk or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the area that should be covered should be rather minimal from their experience, and so they're putting together the information and the report necessary to request that the NFR either requirements be waived or that be changed.
So the cost analysis should be a lot less also.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And what's the time process for that?
We're dealing with the state, so
Yeah.
we may have
That's my answer.
we have the challenge course up in maybe 2025. I don't know. No, we're hopefully.
Like when the Bears moved to.
Yeah, right. When the Bears, they'll move in when the Bears move in Arlington Park. No, these consultants were dealing with the largest firm in Illinois, and they have very good relationships with IEPA, so they should be able to put this through readily. And it's not a major issue. It's not like originally when we were working with Elk Grove to deal with the incident report that was submitted when we took the tanks out. That took some effort and time, but that was Elk Grove Village's responsibility. Now it's ours. This is not major.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
Nope.
Okay, is there a motion to accept the reports?
So moved. I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
Trustee Narodowski,
Aye.
Trustee Keenley,
Aye.
Trustee Woteki,
Aye.
Trustee Dante,
Aye.
Supervisor Bussie.
Aye. Okay, there is no correspondence. There is no old business. Under new business, we need to approve the 2022 annual town meeting agenda due to the requirements they have in terms of when we need to have the agenda approved. We need to do it this meeting. Paul, I'm sorry, what's the date of the April what?
13th.
April 16th?
12.
It says
12,
13.
12,
here. It
12.
says the 13.
It says the 13th.
13th, there you go, 13th.
Okay.
Are we all, do we take a vote on this, or we?
Wednesday.
The 13th, okay.
Oh, wait, let's see.
Is it Wednesday?
Second Tuesday in the month.
It's the
Okay,
12th.
let's verify that.
12. Unless my calendar's wrong.
12th.
12, it's the 12th.
Yeah. Oh, is it
Okay.
Oh, you know what?
So Easter's the
So,
10th, I guess.
what we need to do is we need to approve the agenda with a modification of changing it from April 13th to April 12th. So what I would need is a motion to approve the 2022 annual town meeting agenda with the amendment of April 13th to April 12th.
Hey, George, do you want to explain what the town meeting is a little bit?
All right, yeah, the annual town meeting is actually the required, in township government, the board is not the corporate authority, but I mean, doesn't have the final say. The electors or the residents are the corporate authority. They have the final say on a wide range of functions that we have and do. An example is if we sell property or we buy property, we have to go to the residents to get the electorate to get their approval. They also, besides us having to go out and get their approval for a number of things, they can, either through the annual meeting or through their calling a special town meeting, and they can petition to have a petition. They can submit a request for a town meeting, and it requires so many residents to sign it. And at that meeting, they can address a wide variety of issues like they can at the annual meeting that cover a wide variety of things. So this annual meeting is the one required meeting. I mean, the special meetings can be called for us to get permission to do things or for them to have a meeting to address certain issues. This is the one required one, and it's the second Tuesday in April every year. What'll happen is the clerk will call the meeting to order. She will then call for a nomination of a chair from the residents. A chair nominations will be made, a vote will be taken, a chair will be established. At that point, the clerk will step down, and that chair will run the meeting. The electors will run the meeting. We are just residents at that meeting. We have nothing more than a vote, along with the rest of the audience. Now, in most cases, we don't see many people come out, but we do have, there is an audience. It's just, we haven't had any real controversial issues that we've done such a good, effective job that, that we haven't had a lot of issues where people feel a need to come to the annual meeting. Most people will come and speak as a public comment, and we haven't really had any special meetings called by our electorate either. The only sort of other meetings we've had are ones we've called for purposes. So that's what the meeting is. It's you know, the township government is the form of government closest to the people. I mean, it is more of a democracy than any other form of government because the electorate has a specific say. They can direct us to do something. They can even overturn some things that maybe we've done in certain areas. So I think and the township government is the oldest form of government in the United States. It started in the 1600s and has continued to this day in the same basic structure. Okay, and it started in Illinois in 1848 with the Constitution of 1848. We were started in 1850. That's when the township, Elk Grove Township, was established, and it's been confirmed in all three of the constitutions that have been established or voted on, approved. Last one being 1978. So, okay. Any more questions?
No.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the 2020 annual town meeting agenda as amended?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call.
Trustee Narodowski,
Aye.
Trustee Keenley,
Aye.
Trustee Woteki,
Aye.
Trustee Dante,
Aye.
Supervisor Busser.
Aye. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a resolution adopting a whistleblower protection policy. This is a policy that's now required by the state and that we need to put into place. We use the template provided by TOY, and we also had our attorneys then review it and approve it. So the resolution here is pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any? Does anyone have? Any, well, let me have a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
Okay. Are there any discussion? Any questions or discussion on this?
No, I read through it, George.
Okay.
It makes 100% sense to me.
Okay. Good. If there's no other questions, Can we have a roll call vote?
Trustee Narodowski.
Aye.
Trustee Keenley.
Aye.
Trustee Woteki.
Aye.
Trustee Dante.
Aye.
Supervisor Bussie.
Aye. Okay, now we're going to the 2022-2023 tentative budget for town general assistance and sewer. I'll go through this very quickly. First of all, sewer, there's no changes to the sewer. That's a pay-as-you-go a budget, and there's been no changes to it. We continue to by piece, put sleeves, update and sleeve the sewers, bringing them up to code. We're doing that every year. We're doing a bigger a section of the sewers we have. Paul, do we know when this was probably be done, the sewer? Couple of years. At that point, we're probably going to go to Elk Grove Village and go to Mount Prospect Village and request that they take over the sewers. They'll be up to standard. They'll be there should be no issues with them. And there is state law now which basically requires the villages to take responsibility for the sewers. I don't know why we kept them in the first place. There was probably some reason at one time, maybe financial, that they thought they could keep the sewers and make money off. I'm not sure, but we are not, that's not a core competency of ours. That's not something that we should be doing. It's something that we should turn over to the villages. And that's what, they have sewers already, so that's what the longer-term plan is. Okay, on the town and GA, if you guys want to pull that out, I've highlighted with yellow the changes from the last time we met, last month's meeting. If we go down here quick, you'll see under administration, the employee appreciation, we reduced from 5,000 to 3,100. That's not because we appreciate them less. It's because it's a new line item, and we just decided to make that more conservative, looking at what we spent this year. And we did increase the amount of appreciation events, because I think it's important that we how would say, show the appreciation, and we make them feel as if the board cares about what they're doing and how they do it. So, not major, but things like lunches we have a lunch once a month in the summer, and other things like that, small things like that we've been doing. Under contractual services, under rentals, that's postage and the water cooler. That was just over budgeted. It really only needs to be 2,000. And the public relations advertising under the same contractual services, that was 12. We went from 12 up to 15. That's simply because we're making, as you know, we've made one of our issues is getting out and trying to make ourselves more visible and make sure the public and the electorate knows what we're providing and how we can help them. And that has been something we haven't done a good job of in the past. Okay, over on capital outlay. The food pantry maintenance truck, the maintenance, the landscaping maintenance, the Lincoln and Martha, those were moved to commodities and miscellaneous. They are not capital outlays. They're ongoing expenses that at one time were a capital outlay, but now, since they've been bought or have been either because they were bought, like the food pantry truck, or landscaping maintenance, those are ongoing, they're not capital expenses. So those are just moved. Payroll expenses, administration, I'm sorry, assessor, but the salary was reduced from 32 to 28. That was adjusted for the comp resolution that passed in 2020, which has a gradual reduction of the assessor's compensation over a 4-year period. And that just reflects in the staff salaries and reflects in the FICA. Let's see. Then we go over to the adult and family counseling and youth and family services. The challenge course program and program expenses, we're leaving that at $6,000. Just $100, I don't know why we bothered, so that stays at $6,000. But then the other two challenge course salaries, hospital life insurance, employee share FICA, that's all related to an increase in the number, in the amount of part-time assistants that we believe Renee will need. And she brings in part-time assistants, part-time therapists, part-time workers to help her with the challenge course and with some of the group sessions that they have, even at the schools and here. So we've just increased her budget a little bit there. We'll see if she spends it or not. If she doesn't spend it, if it doesn't increase, we'll reduce it again, the budget again next year. And that's one thing we will keep doing going forward. We're tracking the trends, and if the trends show that we're over budgeting on a trend line basis, we will cut it back and reduce it and make it more in line. We're not going to be creating a lot of fluff in the budget. I mean, certainly we're going to leave some in there to account for contingencies, but there's no reason to have a tremendous amount in a line item that's not historically being used. Okay, employee benefits, employee share FICA, employer share IMRF. The calculations are based on salaries, and that's what they came out to because we moved the food pantry payroll over to GA, which was allowed under state law this last year, and we felt it was more appropriate to be in GA, the food pantry. And that's the manager and the assistant manager of the food pantry. And finally, program expenses. Program expenses of food pantry supplies, that was increased from $5,000 to $8,000. That's because the number of food pantry visits are up, and the supplies we need in terms of paper bags or items that we need to support the increased number of visits is requiring higher expenditures.
Makes sense.
So there's not a lot of changes here. That's the changes for the town and GA. The only other thing is the road. Well, we'll get to that. So on the what I do is there a motion to approve not approve? Is there a motion to accept? We approve the budget at. And in March 14th. Is there a motion to accept the tentative budget for town fund, general assistance, and sewer?
So move.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Oh, it's further. Is there any further discussion? Any other questions? Okay.
Trustee Narodowski,
Aye.
Trustee Keenley,
Aye.
Trustee Woteki,
Aye.
Trustee Dante,
Aye.
Supervisor Bussie.
Aye. Okay, the tentative budget for the road department, there are no changes. As you remember, we no longer have a road district, a road department. We no longer have a commissioner. The resolution that we proposed, put forward, eliminated that department. That was reducing costs, and we've already reduced costs substantially due to salaries and the benefits that go along with that. But also, as we get rid of the equipment, which we will gradually be doing. For instance, this year Art is still doing the snow plowing, but we're beginning negotiations with Mount Prospect and Elk Grove Village to assume that responsibility through an IGA, which will allow us to get rid of the equipment that we're carrying as well here too. So even though we've dismantled disestablished the highway department, we still have responsibility to take care of the unincorporated roads, the brush pickup, and on related responsibilities there in the unincorporated areas. We are doing that. That is now, so those responsibilities, those have shifted to the board, to me and you guys. And what we're doing is we're outsourcing that. We're outsourcing that to the private sector, and in the process, we're saving a couple $100,000. So at this point, we still have a levy and still have a budget for but it's no longer for the department. It's for what do you call it, Paul? It's no longer for the highway, the road and bridge. The levy is for, what do we call that within is it the highway department? Yeah, what do we call it now what do we call it?
Road Department.
Road department?
Yeah.
Okay, it's just the road department. And we have
Everything else is the same. The levy's the same from the county.
Right.
It's distributed half to the village, half to us.
Right. I just didn't know what we specifically were calling it.
When I talked to the lady at the county, she said district or department.
Okay, so it's a road and bridge department now, under the responsibility of the board. But we still have a levy to be able to carry out our responsibilities.
Well,
There's-
I have a question, like,
Yep.
I don't understand some of the terminology. So if we look into, like, through Mount Prospect and Elk Grove Village for the roads.
Right.
Through the IGA, I don't know what the IGA is.
Intergovernmental agreement, yeah.
Okay.
And the intergovernmental agreement will establish where they will do the roads, and we will finance that, pay that through a certain amount that we take from the taxes, yeah.
Okay.
But it has nothing to do with the sewers.
No, that would be something separate. This is, the other intergovernmental agreement that we would do for the highway department with the villages would be for just snow plowing, or it could be for brush pickup and snow plowing, but it will be an intergovernmental agreement where they will be providing those services for us in return for compensation from us that we would negotiate with them. Okay? And that makes sense, because most of these unincorporated areas are in the middle of Elk Grove Village, or the middle of Mount Prospect.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a motion to approve 2022, 2023, well, tentative budget for the road department?
So moved.
Oh, second.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
Nope.
If not, go roll call.
Trustee Narodowski,
Aye.
Trustee Keenley,
Aye.
Trustee Woteki,
Aye.
Trustee Dante,
Aye.
Supervisor Bussie.
Okay, aye. Okay, yeah,
That was an acceptance, right?
Right.
acceptance, yeah. I'm sorry, I said approved, I meant acceptance.
I don't know.
Right.
Just wanted to make sure.
Now, would you explain for the board so we just did the tentative budget, the budget and appropriation ordinance? Did you explain to the board what that is, specifically how that's different?
Okay, well, the tentative is just a tentative budget, that's basically what it is.
Right.
And so it gives the board a chance to look at it, as well as the community a chance to look at it before it becomes more of an ordinance that becomes final when the board decides to approve that, which will be at your March 14th meeting, I believe is the date, correct? March 14th?
Yeah.
Makes sense, okay. So, so anytime up until the time of the vote at that board meeting to approve the two ordinances, it can be changed. You guys can say, I don't like this can be changed, we found some more information, we want to change this, whatever. It's just that the ordinance is when it becomes law, or puts into a final approval, basically, is all it is. And then if we have to send it to the county, that lets them know that we're on track with the levy, the budget. They track all those things down there and confirm that we did them all. They have the right to withhold funds in the levy unless we provide them with all these different documents.
Okay, then 5 and 6 on the agenda?
Are we,
5 and 6 on the agenda.
are we accepting the ordinance tonight and approving it next month?
You're accepting the tentative budgets this evening, and at the next board meeting, it will be,
Okay.
the budget will be voted on.
So we're not voting on these.
Well, why do we have 5 and 6 on there right now? Because we just accepted the tentative budget.
Right, well, what you have in there is the changes that were made in the tentative on those last two documents that are in there that are ordinances. Those new numbers have been put in there. And then from whatever comes up between now and the time it's voted on.
So we're
the
just
next
we're just
meeting,
accepting the ordinance right
that's
now.
all you're doing,
Yeah.
you're accepting the tentative.
Okay, so we've accepted the tentative budget, the budget appropriation ordinance for 2022-1, and the budget and appropriation orders for 22-02 road district are we need to vote to accept them, and then we will vote a final vote on those on March 14th.
You really don't have to do anything with that tonight. I mean,
No.
I
It's
put it
just
on.
being presented.
Yeah, that's what I'm, yeah.
just put it
Okay,
on.
so we don't need
Okay.
to,
Yeah, so, I mean, we've already accepted the tentative budget, so that's,
That's the first step, right?
okay, all right. So this is the ordinance that we will find, the tentative budget washes into the budget and appropriations ordinance for both those two two ordinances, and we'll vote to approve them officially on the 14th. And like you said, anytime between now and then, if there's issues or questions that you have, or one changes, then please let us know, and we can address those ahead of time, and if necessary, we can make the changes before the final vote on the 14th.
It's always easier if you let us know between now and that meeting instead of trying to have a free-for-all.
Yeah.
Back and forth, because it's hard to keep track of all of it, and then some
Right.
things get missed or, not heard correctly or whatever.
Yeah, we need to have that identified and brought to our attention before the meeting, otherwise it could become a mess. I'd prefer to have you come in and let us know so we can address that, so that at the meeting, we can just talk, we can just deal with it, or we can address it quickly rather than having to go through a big discussion on it. Is there anything else? Any other issues that need to be brought before the board at this point?
No, just again, about the meeting next month, since it's, you already mentioned it, just the fact that it's not gonna be the fourth
No, what?
Monday.
March
No, it's March 14th, that's what it is, yeah. Everyone needs to be aware of that. There's no time requirement between the acceptance of the tentative and the approval of the final. There was a requirement between the first tentative and the public hearing, and the acceptance of this tentative. There had to be 30 days there.
Okay.
But between this accepted tentative and the final, there is no time requirement.
Okay. And then lastly, the thing tomorrow, the state of Illinois is coming in.
Yeah, that's a good point. Tomorrow from 10 to 2, we'll have the State of Illinois Service Unit here. They'll be able to do driver's licenses and renewals and new ones, and I don't think they can do the real ID, can they?
No, I don't think so. I think it's mostly IDs and stickers for the plates. Plates, I think, are given as well. There's 4 or 5 things. It's been posted out on Facebook or on social media a couple times. We did it again today just to make sure people saw it. And it was been in other things that it's coming up as well. I think we added in some ads that we ran
Yeah.
in journal topics as well.
It's a more convenient way to address, to get these services than it would be if you go
Yeah,
to the
I'm coming
DMV.
in, actually, for you.
Yeah. Okay, and then also too, just so you know, I did meet with the director of the Northwest Community Hospital, the dental van, and everything seems to be on track there. There's no issues. They appreciate us letting them park their van or their truck in our garage. And so, if you have any questions on that, you can talk to me separately, or I can even get you in touch with the director if you like to get more into how they operate and what they do. It's a great service, and we do that in cooperation with a couple other townships.
I have a couple of questions.
Yep.
With regards to the whistleblower policy, we're all supposed to sign it.
Yep.
And so is that something that that's going to go into effect now?
Yes.
So we all need to actually sign?
Yeah, everyone's gonna have to sign that, yeah. So, and the clerk will have to collect those and make sure that she's got one from everybody.
Okay, and then my second question was back to the, getting the sewers over to Elk Grove and Mount Prospect. Is that just a conversation with the Public Works Departments, or is that a meeting with the actual municipality?
It won't be that. I mean, it'll require a more of a negotiation discussion with the village manager and the director of Public Works.
Okay.
And even though state law is changed, there's still going to be issues associated with it. And we're trying to do our part by bringing all the sewers up to standards, so that it makes, so that the transition is easier for them.
Okay.
But I'm sure they may fight it. I hope they don't, but, but it's something that we need to do.
Yeah, I was just curious on the procedure. I mean,
Right.
I think we have a good
Right.
understanding of,
Right.
you know,
Right.
Mike and Sean, but.
Yeah, yeah. And I think they'll certainly talk to us, discuss with us, and I think in the end, we'll be able to make the transfer. It just we may need to go through some renditions to work it out so it works, where it goes smoothly.
Okay.
And if I was a resident, I would want the sewers to be the village that I'm in, because everything else is the village. Why would I want the sewer to be somewhere else? So, all right, if there's nothing else, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
We got it in.